My Line, brought to you by Stop at Spray Deodorant. Poof, there goes perspiration. Poof Deodorant Body Powder, the body powder you spray. Finesse Shampoo, the new flowing cream shampoo. All in the first truly functional cosmetic containers, far easier to use. All created by Dr. Jules Montagnier, the famous cosmetic chemist. Time now to enjoy What's My Line?
And now, let's meet our award-winning What's My Line panel. First, the popular columnist whose voice of Broadway appears in the New York Journal-American and papers coast to coast, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
And on my left, a young man who is working very hard these days and nights, rehearsing for his first starring role on Broadway in The Pink Elephant, Mr. Steve Allen.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And on my left, one of the lovely ladies of radio and television, as I say every week, but I really mean it, Arlene Francis.
And on my left, the very distinguished publisher whose book of really hilarious stories called Good for a Laugh, and they are, too, has sold 85,000 copies this night and still going strong, as is he, Mr. Bennett, Cerf.
Thank you, Arlene. Goodness, I can hear the logs rolling from here. On my left is a man who performs the jobs of news broadcasting and quiz panel moderating with equal skill, charm, and facility, Mr. John Charles Daly.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to What's My Line, presented by Stop It. Once again tonight, before our cameras, going to come some people who've been good enough to come and visit us and bring with them some interesting and, we trust, varied occupations, varied enough to give our panel some trouble, so they'll carry home some prizes. We'll also have a famous guest challenger before the panel a bit later in the program. But now to start things rolling, it's time for the experts to meet our first challenger whose job they've got to spot. Will you sign in, please, May? Lavon Ghana. Is that right?
Just wanted to know if I thought you was going to make it. I think you're going to do more than make it. How you feel?
Where are you from?
Oklahoma City?
Oklahoma City?
Well, you have come a long way, haven't you? But see, you have some friends in the house. You have nothing to worry about, and you look at those four fine, cheerful, friendly faces over there, and go on over and take a walk in front of them.
I want to look at your hand. May I? Feels just like an Oklahoma girl's hand.
Would you like to look at my hand?
All right. Miss Ghana, will you come over here, please, and sit down next to me? And on the basis of your brief acquaintanceship with the members of the panel, at this point, we always give them one free guess as to what your line may be. And we always begin the free guesses with Miss Kilgallen.
I think she's an oil driller.
An oil driller, Mr. Allen.
I think she's a doll.
Miss Francis.
I think she sells motorboats.
Mr. Cerf.
I think she makes buttons, and she's certainly cute as one.
Well, I think probably in many ways you're all right, but you didn't give us the answer we wanted, so we'll let our viewers at home have a further look at Mrs. Garner, and at the same time we'll tell them what her line is. But, Mrs. Garner, the panel has to dig, so we'll put the scorecards back at the start, and every time you get a no answer from any member of the panel, we charge them $5. We'll keep the record of it up here. 10 of these no's are $50, and you have won the game. There's always one last bit of help. Mrs. Garner is salaried. With that, let's begin the general questioning with Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
Mrs. Garner, do you work for a profit-making organization?
Yes.
Is there any product involved in what you do?
No.
That's one down, and 9 to go, Mr. Allen.
You deal then, obviously, in some sort of service. Do you come into contact with the people whom you serve?
Not especially.
That's too bad.
Well, actually, let's have a small conference on this, please. You go ahead and chat. We'll be with you after a while.
Part John likes best. We all have to wait for it.
Wonder if he'll ever come back.
Maybe find out something
She might be able to help me
uncertain
out.
about.
We've had a committee meeting, and we have decided, Stephen, in all honesty to you, we should say that there are occasions when actually she does come in contact with the people who benefit by her service.
And more ordinarily, of course, she would not. Does she then come into contact with them by mail, perhaps?
By mail? Thank you very much. That's 2 down and 8 to go, Miss Bennett.
Is there anything instructive or educational in Miss Garner's work?
Yes.
What? No, actually,
Miss
not as
Garner
we...
knows what she's doing, John.
Not as we use the terms instructive and educational.
How do you know how Miss Garner and I use it?
All right, we'll make it 3
All right.
down and 7 to go. We'll fight later, okay? 3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mrs. Garner, do you go to people's homes to perform these services that you indulge in?
No.
4 down and 6 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Would you say that your work involved your brain more than any physical activity?
No.
5 down and 5 to go, Mr. Allen.
My goodness. Is the telephone in any way involved in your work?
Yes.
To a
sometimes.
degree that it's an area of communication and subject to use on many normal circumstances, yes.
Would you deposit 5 cents for 3 minutes, please?
Where have you been? It's 10 cents.
Not for 3 minutes. Steve was right.
All righty. Now, this product, can it be used by both men and women?
What product, old boy?
I guess I have the wrong party all the time. I don't know.
Too many pink elephants.
Well, let me see. There's no product, huh?
Well, it has been determined that the services involved and no product is. So you continue, Mr. Allen.
I see. Do you have to have any special training for what you do?
No. Not in my case.
Well, it's, you do require training. I mean, I would not think that this is something that Mr. Allen could, for instance, do tomorrow morning without messing things up rather badly.
No.
So you go ahead, Mr. Allen.
Are you licensed in any way?
No.
That makes it 6 down and 4 to go. And I would say the license issue here is personal and to Mrs. Garner. And it does not rule out the license in the general area. All right, Miss Spencer?
Does Mrs. Garner operate anything?
Well...
She looks like an operator to me, I know that.
Would you be a little bit more
In order
specific?
to be fair and square, I do mean some sort of a vehicle or a method of carrying something. Or
Thank
a
you
method
very
of
much. That's
transporting.
7 down and 3 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mrs. Garner, do you wear any kind of special uniform when you're doing your work?
Well, I work in work clothing.
I mean, it is different clothing than, for instance, you're looking so lovely in this evening.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Would this would this clothing be for protective purposes to keep you from getting grimy at the work you're doing?
Yes.
Do you use any kind of implement that might get oil or that sort of thing on your garment when you're working? Or blood, possibly?
Oil you have in mind.
Yes, would you please expatiate further?
Well, some kinds of work would splatter oil on a lady. Other kinds of work might splatter human or animal's blood on.
Well, Mrs. Garner buys that in this area you do have...
I have something to work on.
Yeah.
Which one have I got to work on?
That's the one you've got to figure out.
Well, I'll try the oil.
The oily bird catches the worm.
Oh, my. Would there be some oil likely to splatter on your... There might.
Mm-hmm.
Do you therefore do some kind of repair work, possibly on machinery of any kind? Or work on machinery of some sort?
Occasionally.
Would this machinery be used in producing something?
Do you mean by producing something a packaged product, for instance?
Well, judging by the way Miss Garner's laughing, it might even be a human baby.
Well, I don't think so. I think we'll call it 8 down and 2 to go.
Better to get out of this.
To say that Bennett has left me in a state of confusion is putting it mildly. Have we determined that Mrs. Garner wears protective clothing because sometimes oil might spatter on her and she does deal with machinery at times?
We have determined that Mrs. Garner wears work clothes, and that one of the reasons she wears work clothes is it is possible that oil might be smeared upon her in the process of her work, and we have, in a very general sense, accepted that she does occasionally work upon machinery, per se.
But have we also established that she does not have anything to do with producing babies?
It has been determined...
As part of her work.
That's right. I mean, that's right. Yeah.
Nice work, though.
You must be thinking of cod liver oil, Dorothy.
Do you work at times with rather large machinery in the vicinity?
Yes.
Do you have to have a certain amount of agility and strength to do what you do?
Yes.
Yes.
Is your job something that is more often performed by a man than by a rather frail-looking girl?
Yes.
Do you ever have to climb?
Yes.
I'm going to give you one more minute to catch this, Pebble.
If anybody wants a conference, I'm open to suggestions.
Maybe she's in the oil business, Dorothy.
Does your work have anything to do with a product of Oklahoma?
No, I don't think so. I think we'll ring the curtain down. Actually, you're not really close, and yet you're not too far away. This is a real tough one. Mrs. Garner is a plumber, a hotel plumber. She's not necessarily licensed. But she is the plumber in the Biltmore Hotel in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. So she didn't have to have a license, which is why I made the point that in this general area, a license could be required, but in her case, it was not. Well, you
it's given Towers.
yes, gave it a rough time, but you have won the full prize, and our thanks for being our guest. Thanks for a very interesting humor. All right, panel, let's see what we can do with another challenger. Will you please sign in, sir? Carl Lawson. First of all, tell us where you're from, Mr. Lawson.
Gainesville, Georgia.
Gainesville, Georgia. Now, would you be good enough to walk down in front of the panel? They would like to get a closer look at you.
Can I see your hand? Thank you.
All right, Mr. Lawson, over here, please, and sit down next to me. And as you probably know, at this point, we give the members of the panel one free chance to try and guess what your line is, and we always begin these free guesses with Miss Kilgallen.
I think he's an alderman.
Mr. Allen.
I think he's a younger man.
Mr. Fred.
Well, anybody as attractive as that ought to be in the peach business in Georgia.
Mr. Cerf.
If he isn't peaches, he's in Coca-Cola.
No, I'm afraid not. Now we'll let our viewers at home have a further look at Mr. Lawson. At the same time, we'll tell them what his line is, but the panel will have to guess. Mr. Lawson, I think you know the rules. Every no answer costs the panel $5. 10 no's. We keep the record all up here, and you have won the game. Mr. Lawson is self-employed. With that, let's begin the general questioning with Steve Allen.
Mr. Lawson, is there a product of any kind involved in what you do?
Yes.
Could it be used by both sexes?
Yes.
Does it, by any chance, ever come into contact with the body when it's used?
Yes.
Well, at these times, would it be correct to say that it covers all or part of the body?
Yes, I think so.
We're doing a little better this time. Would I correctly assume that Dorothy would not wear one of these in the Easter parade?
You're correct. She would not wear one.
Is this thing ever worn or used or chewed or whatever happens to it at night?
Oh, yes.
I'm going to take a new tack here. Is this thing ever slept in?
Yes.
Could you possibly describe it as transparent? I mean, can you see right through it?
Yes, you can see through it by looking.
Yeah, don't say anymore. We're doing fine.
Maybe it has a lot of... I don't know. Listen, did Rita Hayworth ever have her picture taken wearing one of these?
No. One down and 9 to go, Miss Patsy.
Is this worn for a special occasion or at a special time?
Usually, yes.
I mean, it is for a special kind of endeavor that one would wear this garment.
Yes.
Well, now, you have used the word wear there twice.
And you don't wear it.
And it isn't worn, so I'm going to have to say no, I think, to that question. That's 2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Cerf.
You have it on, but you don't wear it.
Mr. Lawson, if you have this on but don't wear it, might this be something that improved the faculty of somebody who wore it, such as his eyesight or hearing?
3 down and 7 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
You have said, Mr. Lawson, that it comes in contact with the body and it covers all or part of the body.
That's all that has been said so far, yes.
But it is not, may I assume it is not a garment of any
No,
type?
it is not a garment.
Yes, you may assume it is not a garment, no.
Is this worn by human beings?
No.
4 down and 6 to go, Mr. Allen.
That's the wrong way, didn't I?
Yeah, wow, I was way off. Is it worn by animals?
Well, now, we've had given you 1 no because you used that verb worn, so I warn you away from worn.
All right, I'll
Go
wash
on
my
from
mouth
there.
out with soap, I'm sorry. Is it used by animals?
No.
Is it what?
Used?
Well, small conference.
What's left besides animals and humans?
Ghost!
Yes, we have I've explained to Mr. Lawson that we use animal in a very broad sense. You go ahead, Mr. Allen.
All right, it could be used by a very broad animal, then. Probably a howdah. However, I won't venture that guess at this time. Is it used by something in the animal kingdom besides man, like fish or birds or something?
Yes.
Why didn't I just say 1? Is it used by a vertebrate?
Yes.
What's a vertebrate?
I just want you to know that you and Mr. Lawson are playing this one all by yourself.
Is it used by a non-mammal?
Yes.
Don't ask that
question.
Does the thing that uses it have scales?
No.
5 down and 5 to go, Miss Benson.
Does it have feet?
Yes.
That's good for him. Does it, would it be in the fowl family?
Yes.
Would it be in the chicken family?
Yes.
It covers chickens. You mean like a chicken house or what do they call it?
Incubator.
Chicken coop is right. All right, there's one little cleanup bit to be done. What relation does Mr. Lawson have to the herefore to said
He
chicken
flew
coop?
the coop. Well, maybe he builds coops.
Well, that's good enough. He makes chicken coop. That's right. Very good, panel. That was a tough one. Congratulations. And Mr. Lawson, you've done pretty well with the prizes. We hope, too, that you enjoyed yourself. Thanks very much for
Thank you,
being our
John,
guest of What's My Life.
And one of our chicken processors is mailing shipping each of you a 5-pound box of frozen chicken breasts. And when those are fried crisp, golden brown, it'll be the best meat you've ever eaten.
Why, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Nice to see you. Now we come to the special feature of our program, the appearance of our mystery celebrity. My friends in the panel would most certainly recognize our guest on sight, so we've provided them with blindfolds. Are they all in place, panel?
Yes, we are.
Good. Will you come in, mystery challenger, and sign in, please? Panel, as you know, in the case of our mystery celebrity, we dispense with all the usual preliminaries, get right down to the general questioning, which we will begin with Mr. Bennett, sir.
There was a great burst of enthusiasm when you came in. Are you prominent in the entertainment world?
Well, yes.
You're a man, are you not?
Yes.
And always have been. Have you ever distinguished yourself by appearances in Hollywood, on the screen?
Yes.
Would you say that you were principally known as a motion picture celebrity?
Well, yes.
You are. Have you ever done any Broadway work, anything on stage on Broadway?
Yes, I have.
Have you done any within this current season?
No.
That's 1 down and 9 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Have you ever been associated in any way with music?
Yes, I have.
Do you sing yourself?
Can you sing yourself?
Yes.
Are you a baritone?
There is some question about that.
But if you had to place your voice somewhere, would you consider that it was in the baritone range?
Dear it.
But you are also an actor?
Yes.
Were you ever part of a singing group?
Not a singing group. We sang some.
But I don't think so as a specific member of a singing group, huh? Come see, come ça? Come see, come ça. You go on, Mr. Arthur.
I guess I must be wrong. Would you say that you... have you ever had a radio program of your own?
A radio program of your own?
Not of my own, no.
That's 2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Allen.
Do you have dark hair? What there is of it, yes. Do you still have most of your hair?
Yeah, he sure does.
And you are known mostly for motion pictures. Did you ever play a musical instrument? Yes, I did. Good for you. Do you do light comedies? Light comedy? Yes. Well, I got an idea. I'm just going to take a wild guess, and if it's not right, I'll see you all after the show. Are you Fred MacMurray?
Yes! That's a wonderful book. Thanks so much for doing our guest. Will you say something to the panel before you go and tell us something else? Where did you get the voice?
Well, you plan on doing something here, and you hope something comes out other than your own. I don't know. I guess
It was awful good.
Like Richard Haydn a little bit.
I think that's what it was. Yes, Richard Haydn. Apologies to it.
Well, it was lots of fun. I must say I didn't think Steve would be able to get it. Thanks a lot for being our guest. It was nice to have you with us. All right, panel. Let's see what we can do with another challenger. Will you come in and sign in, please, sir? Theodore Kaufman. Is that right, sir? Where are you from?
Astoria, Long Island.
From Astoria, Long Island. Now, time is very short, so would you walk right down in front of the panel, right back again and sit with me, please?
I'm sorry, your time is up.
All right, Mr. Kaufman, right back here, if you will. And the panel, having had a very brief look at you, we'll give them the usual wild guesses to what your line may be. And we'll begin the wild guesses with Miss Kilgallen.
I think he's a jeweler.
I beg your pardon?
A jeweler.
Mr. Allen.
According to the sign you took down, he's still Fred MacMurray.
No, not Fred MacMurray. Miss Francis?
I think he's a hairdresser.
Mr. Cerf?
It has something to do with the income tax department.
No, nobody has it right. We'll let our viewers have a further look at Mr. Kaufman, and at the same time, we'll tell them what his line is. But the panel has to beg. Mr. Kaufman, you know the rules. Every no answer, $5. We keep the record up here. 10 no's, you've won the game. You have about 1 minute and 40 seconds, panel, to get it. We'll give you the last bit of help. Mr. Kaufman is self-employed, and we'll begin the general questioning with Miss Arlene Francis.
Do you do anything that might entertain people?
Yes.
Would you be considered a performer?
Yes.
What do you know? Do you ever perform on a stage?
Yes.
Do you do something apart from acting?
Yes.
Do you use any kind of equipment in your particular job or your act?
Yes.
Do you do anything that has to do with acrobatics?
No.
1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mr. Kaufman, the way you use your voice makes me wonder if you have anything to do, whatever, with ventriloquism.
No.
2 down and 8 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Do you have anything to do with the mind?
No.
3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Allen.
You want to have that looked into. You work with animals. No.
4 down and 6 to go, Miss Francis.
Is there any other person in your act?
No.
5 down and 5 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Do you tell stories of any kind?
No.
6 down and 4 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Do you move your equipment around?
Yes and no.
Occasionally.
Dorothy, time is up. Actually,
only
this is
thinking
going
of
to
a
throw you, but
dozen.
I think you'd have gotten it if we'd had enough time. Mr. Kaufman is a fire eater.
Oh, man.
And Mr. Kaufman, you get the full prize because we ran out of time. Thanks very much for being our guest and What's My Line. And now, in just a moment, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to give you a preview look at one of the guests whose line our panel is going to be asked to try and identify on next week's program. But first, here is some excellent advice. At the same time, our panel of experts will be asked, what's my line by this man? Would you know what his occupation is? Could you spot his line? Well, for the answers to these questions and a good many others, interesting and we hope a little difficult sometimes, be sure to tune in again next Sunday night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, when once again Stopette invites you to play What's My Line? For other localities, check your local listings for the date and time of our weekly series. And don't forget, What's My Line on Wednesday nights on CBS Radio. Until we see you again, this is John Daly saying good night, Dorothy.
Good night, Steve.
Good night, Arlene.
Good night, Bennett.
Arlene's going to do some firefighting in Philadelphia tomorrow. She's going to get lip brothers. Good night, John.
And good night, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for being with us on What's My Line?
This has been a Mark Goodson, Bill Codman production in association with the CBS Television Network.